It's from Behind the Barcast, the podcast for bartending, service industry, drinking in general. I'm Paxton. We have Clint Moses over there. We have back in the saddle on the ones and twos, Jeff. Interesting side note, Landrum.
Hello, everybody.
But most importantly, our long-awaited guest, the Meta World piece of pizzerias, the Phil Jackson of philanthropy, the emissary of Intamin's Donuts, Mr. Eric Thomas. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks. Yeah. The melee at the YMCA. Nailed it.
Firing away.
I just heard a fire alarm. We would like to thank our patrons this week. You make the show run. You help us. You help us do this comfortably. We don't make any money, but we have We got microphones and stuff.
Yeah,
so
unbelievably.
Get paid for this microphone.
Professional here.
Get up on that baby.
I'm,
there you go. Yeah. There you go.
I will tell you, for those of you that can't see the setup, it is. I mean, this thing is. There's a lot of light, and I really appreciate that. But the microphones, the whole setup here is.
That's why we're
very
separate. You're too tan, so we had to be like a little farther apart.
Very professional.
So if you're listening on Spotify, all you got to do is pop that phone open, and there's the video.
There's the video, and there'll be some more video stuff in the second half here. Because,
and we're going to.
We didn't get our uniforms in check apparently.
We're on YouTube as well. We're on all the major platforms. And first, quickly before we start, I'd like to shout out two new listeners, Lindsay and Megan. They are traveling nurses. So we like to shout out our first responders and our healthcare people.
Yes, most first responders.
Yes.
Some are a little.
Starting to change my opinion.
Yeah. Those who aren't afraid to run into a burning building.
Yes.
Is who we like to think. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had the displeasure of going to a place called Macon, Georgia. And I go to Macon, Georgia, and we pull into the Airbnb for which we will be staying at. And the guy who owns it sends us a message through Airbnb that said, I see there's a Tybee sticker. I helped open Huckapoos. Do you know anything about it? I was like,
a little.
Well,
A little bit. Let me tell you a few things.
so we got into it, and he was like, I was there in the beginning, Shep this, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and his name was Brad.
Yeah, Brad Evans.
So it was you, Shep, Brad, and was Brent also involved?
Brent did the artwork and has continued to do the artwork all the way throughout. So the guy, the logo.
That's him. That's his design?
That's Brent. Yeah.
Okay.
Brent Helms, long time best friend, we were high school buddies. And
from
now
Lassiter?
our families, even before that, we went to Mabry Middle School together. And he was this unbelievable artist, unbelievable athlete, just this guy that does everything, right?
Everything, yeah.
You know anybody like that, Paxton?
Yeah,
somebody.
And he's just one of those guys that he's good at everything, and now he's got a beautiful family, and our families are growing up together, and it's awesome. Yeah, so he does all the artwork and has done all the artwork.
Is the logo based on anyone in particular?
It is not. It's just his vision, kind of.
Okay, cool.
Of what?
Because I've always heard like it could have been Shep or somebody. Like there's always been rumors.
No, it was just
I'm kind of growing into looking like him.
Well, it was his vision, I think, of what eventually I was going to turn into, but I don't really grow facial hair real well, so.
No, he was like, these are the type of people that will probably be growing hair.
Yes.
That's accurate.
But like you said, Mike Henderson. People ask me
all
the time.
Yeah.
Is that him?
Yeah.
Like, are you
just
the
like
guy?
Henderson.
So one day he
And Mike's kind of grown into that. Like he's grown his hair out. And
Yeah.
And he's,
he asked me to borrow a tiny ukulele so
He
that
emulates.
For Halloween?
that he could
Perfect.
be the.
Yeah.
So it was it 2001.
2000. We opened
2000.
2000. 1999. The turn of the century is when we signed our lease.
Okay.
And when we arrived on Tybee Island, which was a lot different than it is now.
Sure.
And we showed up and we met Keith Gay, who owned that property.
Right.
And he's like, I'm looking for somebody to do some sort of food service in this area. We were just here, just kicking around. I was actually at the time, I think, I was dating a girl in Savannah, and we just decided to come here. It
wasn't like, here's the destination. The destination presented itself.
No, I knew nothing about Tybee Island when I arrived here, and so the only time I had been to Savannah was for St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
and we came to Savannah, and we had a great time. And then, but this is before the days of cell phones. So my friends, I have a tendency when I used to get all hammered, I would separate myself from the pack.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? That was
I've known a few folks like that.
Get a little
that
lost, a wanderer.
That guy,
The shady dip.
But really, I didn't go. It's not like I went home though.
Yeah.
The shady,
Yeah, yeah.
I shady dip now. Like I sneak out, you know.
Irish
But I
goodbye.
was looking for other things. I was getting into other things. You know, I was.
You might be chasing some tail. Or
Yeah,
something.
I was trying to say that without
Whatever
really
kind
saying
of shenanigans.
and so I got separated from my crowd, and then the Monday rolls around, and we're still getting after it, and the party's over, man. You know, my friends are like, "We got to get back. Where the hell is he?" And I was like, "I'm just gonna stay here in Savannah for a while," you know.
Oh wow, yeah.
And then I hooked up, and Shep, me and Shep were buddies in college, and we Valdosta State
Okay.
University.
Oh, I went to Valdosta State University
Did you
for a
really?
year. Yes.
Yeah.
For
how many years?
I lived in
What'd you
Brown
say?
Hall just 1 year.
For 1 year.
I lived in Brown Hall, which is so old. My mom also lived in that building when she went to Valdosta in college.
Man, I wish I remembered where I lived. Valdosta was so much fun. I had such a good time in Valdosta. And
Was it like 8-to-1 girls to guys when you were there?
it was thick there.
It was like that, and I still couldn't get any.
Well, if you can't get laid in Valdosta, you're doing something wrong.
I
my
was
friend.
still a raver then. I didn't
uh,
realize that being a raver in college did not translate well.
What year are we talking?
2000.
2000. Yeah, so I was long gone. I was out of there.
I took
Fond
fitness
memory.
walking, Eric. I didn't care about school.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm sure there wasn't that many years after I went. So I imagine the places were still the same.
Yeah.
And Rick's bar, was that a?
Is that the one that had all you can drink for like 2 hours?
It was Rick's and someplace else, and it was they were joined together.
Yeah. That's the place. They had all you can drink. It was like 6 to 8. And so what we would do is we would sneak in an empty gallon of water, and we would take drinks and pour them in there. So when the free drinks went away, we could just drink that instead. We got thrown out for that eventually.
Nice.
Yes.
That's good. I was there one time, and they got raided.
Ooh.
And I'm talking about tons of police come in there because everybody was underage.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
Everybody. And,
Yeah.
and when I say everybody, I mean, I'm going to guess somewhere around 200 people
Yeah.
were underage.
And like
in there.
197 were underage.
And they start checking everybody's ID. Well, I was underage too at the time, and they didn't have enough handcuffs for everybody. Goodness knows. So they put zip
This
ties.
before zip tie?
No,
Okay.
so they put zip ties on our hands. And I was with at the time was this girl, and so they put me in these zip ties. Well, I was able to get out of the zip ties. You know, so we're walking in line, and I kept my hands behind my back until I got through the line. They're escorting everybody out, and we get to the trash can, and I drop this zip tie in the trash can, and I stand back, and I'm like, "See you guys later, man. See you guys." I act like I'm of age, because there was a few of age
Sorry
people.
about your bad luck,
And my
guys.
girlfriend's like, What are you doing? You know?
What, you didn't-
And I just casually walked out.
That was the first
and just-
shady tip.
And I walked to the corner of the street. I just took off running as fast as I could. And I was like, yes.
Just walking. Now yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's where you met Shep, though, or not?
Yeah,
That, you
not
and Shep,
that
what-
day, but he
and
was
Shep-
with me that night, actually.
Okay,
we were
yeah.
together, and
So y'all came to Savannah for that party and kind of never left. And so Keith is suggesting that he needs food there.
right.
Was there any of the other little shops around Huckapoo's during that time?
They were just putting them in. So the
Okay.
kiosks were just getting put in. Nothing
So
was.
there's really nothing commercial there.
No, so
There was
actually,
no food on this side of the island except for the grill,
He
and it
had
was small.
just put in.
Wasn't there a video store there?
The video store
There
was
was
about
nothing there. When we got there was nothing. He had
I know,
just
but
gotten the site
eventually-
plan approved, and he was wanting to move in it. So Huckapoo's was an old house at the very beginning. It was
Somebody we know lived there.
Ricky Tintits?
No, he lived there.
Yeah.
Ricky Tintin. Do you remember Ricky Tintin?
Yeah.
But IGA. This is terrible. IGA owner Mike.
Mike.
Yeah,
one of
Hosty.
the hosties.
Mike Hosty. It was Mike Hosty's house.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we checked out the house, and we were like, well, can
He
we?
just had a birthday,
like,
by the way.
What do we need to do to secure this thing? And he's like, what are you guys gonna do? I'm like, well, we haven't really figured it out yet, but
do something.
we'll do something. You know?
And you got to have some infrastructure, like,
And-
I don't know, water and.
Oh yeah, it was a house, so it had
Yeah.
water. And he was
Well,
like,
no, I mean, but like ventilation. And,
yeah, well, yeah, and that right there is why we chose pizza over anything else, because at the time you didn't need a hood vent. So as long as you had a self-contained oven, you didn't need the hood. Hood vents are crazy expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and we didn't have the money for a hood vent, so we got one pizza oven, just one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we stuck it through the wall because it wasn't big enough to hold the pizza oven. The room wasn't big enough to hold the pizza oven, so we stuck the oven through the wall, and the back of the oven was hanging out where
Like a window unit air conditioner.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we started, all right, we can do this. We'll put this here. And the health inspector came in and he's like, yeah, this will work, man. You don't need a, so they were like, okay, now we have to learn how to cook pizza. and so we were out downtown one night and a lady named McCall Holmes. So it's me and Shep and Shep's girlfriend. And we're out downtown just having a good time. And I meet this girl named McCall Holmes. And she's like, you won't believe that I work for Cisco. So if you guys are starting a restaurant, I would like to come down there and check out the place. And I was like, look, we're not ready for that yet. We haven't really know what we're doing yet. Yeah. So what are you going to cook? We just got a pizza oven. And she's like, I got you. And she was the very first chef at Lady & Sons.
Oh, wow.
McCall Holmes was the very first chef at Lady & Sons.
Hmm.
And she says, let me come down there and just let's try out a few things.
A little tutorial.
Yeah. Let me teach you a few things that I know, and then and you guys can take it from there. And I was like, okay. And I never really expected to see her again. You're out, you're partying.
A lot of people.
Right.
I
never really expected to see her again. So we're in there working, still in the construction phase. We got the oven in, but we're still kind of in the construction phase.
But you'd already been.
And Shep was the ultimate decorator. So like if he didn't like the whatever he put up on the wall there, he'd have to take it down. He put it over here,
Sure.
like he's like he was really into that.
That's the way his mind.
Yeah, awesome guy, and so he was very particular about where things went and what lights were hanging and most of the stuff that we started with came out of his grandfather's warehouse. He just had this warehouse that he is a very wealthy family. And he'd acquire these properties, and he would put all the stuff in this warehouse.
Oh, right.
Just
so
hoarding stuff.
He was like, look, you need decorations. Come on. And the Popsy is named after his grandfather.
Oh, okay,
gotcha. That's who Popsy is.
Well, see, yeah, you watch on, what's that show, Antique Archaeology or whatever, where they just go to barns and pull out, old oil signs?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's just some people in, rural Georgia with warehouses full of old signs from
he's
gas
one of them.
stations.
So all the saw blade that's hanging on the wall that Brent did the design on, that's from there, and because it was an old sawmill, it wasn't a warehouse. It was an old sawmill. It's exactly what it was.
Gotcha.
And it was just full of stuff. So the gas pump when you walk in on the right, that's from there.
So she is teaching you how to make pizza while he is decorating.
So he's decorating.
Okay, he's the wife. Gotcha.
Yeah. So he's decorating it all up, and I'm more worried about getting the decks built and
You know what though? They're both just as important.
Absolutely.
The aesthetic
Absolutely.
is just as important.
And look, and I appreciated that part of what he gave for sure. Where was I? So the pizza. She comes in. She's like, "Hey, let's check out what you got." She brought all these samples, and she had everything we needed. And she says,
Cisco's good for that. They'll come show you how to open your kitchen.
And she says, "Let me show you a few things. Let me see what we got." And she was there for days. I mean, an unbelievable amount of time.
Really? That.
And she taught us how to make pizza, how to what else we can do with pizza where we don't have to buy anything extra but still offer other items. So everything that kind of rolls in together, and she developed this basically our menu for us.
Right.
Because we had no idea what we were doing.
Of course.
I had worked I'd cooked at a restaurant for forever in Valdosta, and I'd worked there all through college, and so I knew that I could cook. I just didn't know a whole lot about pizza.
Well, and understanding your inventory, what you need.
Right, I still don't understand that. Yeah. So we're still working. We're still working.
Thank you, Heather.
We're getting there. It's 22 years.
So we're still working on that part, and there's still a lot of kinks we need to work out. But it's so we started. It's just trial and error. Just trying some things out and doing it. And our first night was a disaster.
Of course,
total disaster, man. I mean,
was it just you back in the
the
kitchen?
Because the only pizza place at that time was Pizza on Wheels.
Yes.
So anyway, there wasn't a lot of pizza on Tybee.
No, there wasn't a lot of anything.
There wasn't hardly anything on the north end.
And
because I remember the early-ish days when I would go up there. I mean, if you didn't know it was, which is still kind of that way today.
Right.
Except we have the luxury of having Tybean next to it, so people that are coming to get their coffee in the morning.
Like, oh, what's this place?
Right, because last night, I mean, it happens every night, but most people are like, hey, yeah, we were suggested to come here.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we're on a referral basis only.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
I get an Uber out there every now and then, and every other driver's like, I had no idea this place was here. And they pull down, and they're like, whoa, all this.
Yeah.
it's sort of a cool filter though, because I was telling someone last night, I was like, all right, so if I have a group of people that are like, oh, they're kind of a nightmare, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll be like, where else should we go? I'll send them to certain places.
Yes.
And then if they're like super cool and everything, I'm like, man, you got to go to Bubba Gumbo's, you know?
Yeah,
You
I
kind of
gotcha.
filter out.
Yeah.
You don't want to spread the disease everywhere.
So
Right.
when y'all open, first night's a disaster as it goes.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get it together?
22 years.
2 years.
Yesterday we was together.
Well, because originally it was a bit like, if you've been to Poos now, it's a big deck.
Yep.
But originally, like, you could probably cut the inside bar by 2/3,
Yeah,
probably.
there
It was like a
was-
hallway.
There was 10 bar stools.
Yeah.
And then there was the booth down at the end.
Yep.
And then there was 2 tables we squeezed in there, but really
Those
unnecessarily.
tables were
Yeah.
tiny too.
Yeah, they were real tiny, and nobody could really do anything.
But a
with
lot
it.
of deck.
There's
There was a screen porch.
More pizza than table.
And the screen porch is now Tybean.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
it was
So-
over more.
So the bar was connected to where Tybean is now.
Gotcha.
And then there was a lower deck
Yep.
that had the ring toss.
That
and
was
then,
the Dixie
And yeah.
evolved. Into the
Yeah.
Dixie.
That was Irish Brian's hangout
That
down
was
there.
a fun place.
And then there was a storage shed, and that was it. And
Oh, you forgot the most important room, the bathroom.
the bathroom.
Oh
yes.
my God,
Yeah.
the bathroom
Yeah.
there, the shenanigans.
Oh my
The
goodness! It
shenanigans
was.
room.
There was a bench in the bathroom.
There
that
was
with
a bench in the
cushion.
bathroom by design.
yeah.
Now we purposefully don't have air conditioning in the bathroom, so people
Right.
Well,
You
get the
learned.
hell out of
You
there.
learned.
Yeah.
people walk out and
Yeah,
be like, did you enjoy our free sauna?
Just,
You're like,
just sweating.
Oh God!
Like-
And like in the uneventful thing, you have to poop in there. You're like, God no, please.
Yeah.
I didn't think Georgia could get hotter, but
It
I was
is
wrong.
Absolutely hotter in there than any. It's hotter in there than the kitchen.
Yeah.
So
sure.
did you live on Tybee as you were building?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
but did you originally intend to live somewhere where you could jet ski to work?
So, my first encounter with Jerry Bacon. Are you?
wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Jerry Bacon was a realtor at the time, and he was like, "Hey, listen, man, have you ever been over to Defusky?" And I was like, "Nah, I'd love to go check out Defusky. What so you can only get there by boat. It's South Carolina, but it's really close to here, and I'll take you over there and show you the place." So I said, "Okay, yeah, let's go." So it's me and Shep. And Jerry Bacon and one of Jerry Bacon's friends, and I can't remember his name, but you'd know him if you saw him. And we're driving over there, and I feel like like Jerry on a boat is like you're comfortable with Jerry on a boat because that's all he's ever like. He's on the water.
Pretty much every bacon
Is
around
good.
town
Yeah,
is
yeah,
probably
like
is
if
pretty
you're,
good on a boat.
So you go to Defusky for the first time.
Yeah, so we're on our way to Defusky for the first time, and we run out of gas. So
Perfect.
we're like, okay, what do we do now? And Jerry's like, oh, it happens all the time. Don't worry, don't worry about it. It's good. So we're waiting around. The Coast Guard rolls up, and he says, hey, we ran out of gas.
Hey, Jerry.
Of course, they're like, hey, do you guys, while we're here, do you guys have life jackets? And he's like, yeah. And we had one life jacket.
4 people, no problem.
and the Coast Guard's like, look, just I'll figure this out. You guys are kind of what are you doing? So they fill us up with gas, and we take off again. We get to Defusky, pull in, and this dolphin's like swimming by the boat, and we get a golf. He's got a golf cart there waiting on us. We got a golf cart, and we're driving down the road, and this bald eagle comes
I
soaring
hope it was an
down.
electric golf cart,
And
not
I'm
gas.
like.
This is like
cue
Yeah.
cue the eagle.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And I feel like, man, this place is magical.
that's
like,
how
it's
you sell real
and
estate.
I don't know if you've been to Defusky or if you spend much time over there, but half of that island is amazing.
It's
The-
gorgeous.
The,
Yeah.
historic
It's super
part
gorgeous.
of Defusky that's not on the beach that they ruined with those awful
Yeah.
developments
Yeah.
that they ruined. But the half that's not that
Yeah.
is I remember this old bull just being tied to a tree, just hanging out there, chickens
like,
running
what's
around, and it's just it's exactly the place that I like. Exactly.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
Like the historic part. Now,
Sure.
obviously, I don't want to be on the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side, But he's like, look here, if you buy this lot right here, here's the lot, right here, and it was like $15,000. It was. As far as real estate goes, it's like, holy shit, this is nice. So $15,000 bucks, and I was like, we could do this. We could get along. It's fine. It's a, and then we'll just put a trailer there for the time being
Until we can build a house.
until we can build something. And of course, our vision was, we'll build a lot of little cabins and we'll have like everybody live. It'll be a commune and it'll be perfect. And we had this amazing, and okay, so we'll just take jet skis to work. And we'll just and Jerry thinks that's a great idea because because you could shoot over and shoot up by Savannah Beach and Racket Club, just drag the jet ski up and lock it to the I'm sure no one's gonna have a problem with that, right?
That is completely legal.
Fine.
Well, what if it rains? It's like hardly ever rains.
We're in the water anyway.
When would it rain? Every day for the last 3 months.
But really, we were dead set on this.
I love that though. Like the kids with the dream, and then you're gonna dream big and be like, oh, what if we
jet skis? I mean,
so,
what if we
and
were
I was 26 and he was 28 years old at the time. So we were babies. We were.
But at least when the opportunity arose, you said, hey, like however it's gonna work.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we left Defusky, though, let me go back to Defusky.
I'm sorry.
We
Yeah,
left Defusky. We somehow get lost. Because he was showing me some other things. We end up getting lost. We run out of gas again.
Oh my!
We ran out of gas twice.
I was hoping you did. We
ran out of gas twice on the way to Defusky and back. We because there was no gas on Defusky because they only sell gas on Wednesdays or something like that.
Oh, of course.
So we end up. And
is it dark at this point?
It's dark,
okay.
And
I'm sure you had lots of lights.
No lights.
No lights. One light.
But
jacket.
he has a depth finder on his boat, and we had somebody come and give us some gas, or one of his buddies or something, give us some gas, and we get the gas in there, and then there's this depth finder on the boat, and we are hauling ass, and the depth finder just going 5 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet, 0, 0, 0, 5, 4, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, we ain't getting out of this one. We ain't gonna get out of this one.
It's when you're on the jet ski rack was a bad idea.
It didn't set off like a fire alarm or anything.
I'm watching the depth finder and I'm like, oh man, and I'm preparing myself to like launch. How do you do this? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Did he go to the Bremer boating school?
He did. And look, nothing against Jerry Bacon was amazing on that water. Like he knew exactly where. Like no. Like as far as boating goes, and Jerry Bacon,
where did you crash? Where was the impact?
There was no impact.
I know, but where did you run aground?
We didn't. It just said zero, but he was steady going.
Okay.
He got it up. The reason we were going so fast, he had to get it up on
his own plane.
Yeah, he had to get it up.
Okay.
So that's why he's saying you can't go slow through here.
No.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You go slow.
So you made it back okay?
Yeah, we made it back fine. We made it back fine. 2 times running out of gas.
Yeah.
And
so how many more times you go on a boat with Jerry Bacon after that?
That was the only time
That's weird.
I ever went with Jerry Bacon. But
so you don't end up buying into Fusky, I'm guessing.
No. We not because we didn't want to, and not because we weren't trying. I think it was a money issue, to be honest with you. We just
it's still an option
at the time. 15,000.
Jet skis are cheap,
I mean,
jet skis. Still live your dream.
But think about this: try and start a business and start trying to figure out a housing thing on an island that you don't live on. That'd be a lot to do.
So how far did you live when you were on Tybee from Poos at this time?
I lived on Miller Avenue, so I had to leave the island. I did have to leave the island.
Yeah.
I had a dog that I rescued from. There was an Eckerd's on Wilmington Island.
I remember Eckerd's.
Okay, there was an Eckerd's on Wilmington Island.
I used to hang out
and I was throwing something away in their dumpster. And
legally?
Sure, that was legal. And I heard this whimpering sound, and in the dumpster was this little dog. And I picked this dog up, and I was like, oh my, like somebody threw you away.
Wow, you threw a perfectly good dog away.
The only way you could get in this dumpster is somebody puts you in here.
Yeah.
I take the dog. And we became fast friends, me and this dog.
I bet he likes you. Holy shit!
And so got him back right, and I had this great relationship. And he's one of those dogs. He's just an old lab mix mutt. Had some hound dog in his eyes, drooped down real bad. I never put him on a leash. He just wanted to be around me all the time. Yeah. So I never needed a leash.
I've
for
had
him.
one of those dogs. The dog I had before my current one, he was right next to me.
The one
all
that got
the time. Bit by the rattlesnake. Yeah. And I rescued. I found him in the middle of the street, and he was like, "Never leave me again." So
and now when he wanted to come to work with me all the time. No, I named him. His name was Superfly Snooker, really. and I went by Snook.
That's a hard name to yell out.
Because I was building a deck. I was because we had other jobs to compensate for the lack of business we had at Huckabee. So we took other jobs, and what like air conditioning. I did air conditioning and some construction So I was building a deck, and he was sitting there watching me build this deck because I just take him everywhere, you know, because why not? It didn't matter. And he looked at me, and I could tell he wanted like to be closer to me for some reason. And I was way out there, and he launches to try to get to me on this deck, and just the rafters, and you know, it's just the joists in there right now.
Yeah, dogs aren't real good.
And he just whooped all the way down.
No.
You know?
Oh,
So,
buddy.
and I hadn't even named him yet. You know, like I honestly, I was like, okay, let me get him back to health, and then you know,
we'll see
send him
what
on his way.
A name always
Because I can't really, you know, I don't have the responsibility of a dog. I don't need that right now. You know, like of course I thought that, and then after he did that, I was like, all right, you're my dog, you know.
Yeah.
And
That's the
your
same thing
name
with the
is
dog I
Superfly
rescued,
Stoker.
Nugget. Like I was like, I'm just gonna hold on to him for a few days.
Yeah.
It took like I don't know 8 hours, and I was like, you're my dog.
Yeah.
He named a Nugget. And just an interesting side note here. He was named Nugget because I had a little nugget of weed on the table, and he was a rescue dog, so he was hungry as shit.
Yeah.
And it was like he'd been in my
Devoured
house for
it.
an hour and a half, and I was like, where'd my last piece of weed go? And I'm like, and the dog all of a sudden, like within an hour, is like, ugh. But my mother at the time could not know that I was smoking marijuana. Or she called it the pot.
The pot.
So she was like, Nugget, like chicken nugget. I'm like, well, that's it, Mom.
That's exactly.
That's it.
That's exactly why.
Like chicken
Yeah.
nugget. Yep, for
Nuggets.
sure. But a great dog, Superfly, because he,
I remember when he got bit by that rattlesnake.
yeah,
though. That was,
because the cops came, got the rattlesnake, killed it, and then left it in the backyard for me to. They're like, well, we left it here in case you wanted to, you know, like burn it or something. I'm like, interesting. No, I want it gone. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah.
So
They left it because one time Doug went and killed a rattlesnake for
Oh my God! I was seriously one of the scariest moments of my life.
and he's like Steve Irwin apparently, and then he's like he thinks he's gonna get to keep it,
Yeah,
and the police take it from him.
and bring him back the rattle.
The rattle, yeah.
yeah.
And then in your case, they're like, "Here's your snake."
That rattlesnake was huge, by the way.
I know.
It was huge.
He's
What kind of snake was the one that fell from the ceiling on Vinny?
That was just old black snake.
It's
just
a
a-
black
just a rat
racer.
snake. kind
So
of
could
thing.
you not have dogs at the apartment that you were living
No.
at?
So yeah, the dog was fine in the apartment, and it was a duplex.
Yeah.
So he's starting to grow up, and he just waits for me at Huckaboo's.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just let him hang out around Huckaboo's, which is. And Todd Smith would run by, and he'd run with Todd Smith for a while, and he'd come on back to Huckaboo's.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, like
Todd and Tammy, the first customers, really?
yeah,
right?
yeah,
First
yeah,
regulars.
Todd, yeah. And he would run with Todd, and Todd would say, "All right, going back now," and he, all right,
No
going
shit,
back.
that's
yeah,
great, yeah.
He had
That's awesome.
They had a good relationship too. This dog was awesome.
Yeah, right.
It really was awesome. Never had a leash, and the neighbors didn't like that he didn't have a leash. And every now and then, if I had to leave him, I couldn't take him to work. You know, if I had to leave him there, he would get out of the house. Magic.
Is it escape
One time
artist?
he broke a window to get out because he was he was either coming to Huckaboo's or he was going to the river to swim, you know?
Yeah.
And so this was a time where I'd left him and he got out of the house so I'd had 2 dog off their leash tickets, which
Right.
are serious here on
They're
Tybean.
real serious
Yeah,
now.
Serious.
They're
For
real
those
serious
of you
now.
that are listening that aren't from Tybean,
Yeah.
this is like dogs
Dog
are
at large
not
charge are
liked
expensive.
here
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Tybean.
Yeah.
It's just
It
not.
was hell and high water to get a dog park on Tybee.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You can let an infant cross the street, fine, whatever,
Yeah.
but don't
yeah,
don't
the
let that dog be off a
Forget
leash.
about it. So it was my 3rd dog off his leash ticket, and I went in there and I said, I need to get my dog. They take the dog and it puts him in the little dog jail, and he's
Yeah.
very at home there because he's been there a couple
I
times.
was like, whoa, what up, guys?
And he's like, hey,
He's like, "What up,
Dad.
T-Bone?
Sorry.
Good to see you again."
Sorry, man. And I said, I need to get my dog. I said, okay, you have to sign this. And I said, well, I owe you $50, right? That's like, no, you got to come to court for this one. And I said, okay, I'll come to court. So I show up to court. Judge Shear, the same judge now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I said, yes, my dog was off the leash. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I know that for sure. I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he said $1,000 fine and 10 days in jail
For you or the dog?
for me.
Holy.
1,000, not or.
Holy lazy eye
Not
shit.
and.
Yeah. $1,000 fine and 10 days in jail.
Interesting
And I
side
said-
note.
Yes, sir.
That's the same reason why I left this fucking island.
Really?
When I left because of a dog at large charge.
So your dog went to jail. Your dog went to jail. So this is around. What time is your 3rd dog at large charge? Like what time? This is like
Like what time?
Huckaboo's open. Huckabee was open in 2000.
Yeah.
And, you know what
I
time?
gotcha.
What, was this 2001, 2?
2001, 2002, something, you know.
Yeah.
He was probably at least, I mean, he was old enough to be on it. Like the dog was like Snook was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's just
he
hanging
was a
out on
dog
the deck
now,
all
you
the
know,
time.
So
yeah, he used to hang out on the deck, and
did you
then
end up having to do?
and then this Doberman came in, and all of a
I remember
sudden
that
he
day.
changed his mind that he wasn't cool with that no more. He didn't want other dogs in there. This
That's
is just his.
how my rescue was.
And
He was
his
like,
house.
he's like, I love people, but
but he was fine with them all the way up. But it was Jeff Nagel, Sarge's Doberman, and his Doberman came up, and Snook went after him. And I was like, buddy, you can't come to work with me no more because
Yeah.
I can't have that, So we had that talk. He didn't like it, but then so he was at home a lot more. That far along.
Did you ever do
so
the 10? Did you have to do the 10 days in jail?
No. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. So
Yeah.
So I said
But the crowd listening is like,
So
cliffhanger.
I'm at court and I go, whoa! I had no idea that
It went
this
from
was
$50 to
this serious of an
1,000.
offense. Can I get some representation? Can I get an attorney?
Yeah.
And he says, I think that would be a great idea. And I
so
said,
this is a point in
and
time
I
where you
said-
don't want to represent yourself.
no, but I've changed my mind on that. So I say, can I get an attorney? He says, yes. Well, my neighbors that are complaining about him, he says, well, Judge, I'd like to say something. And Judge Shear says, okay. And he says, I'm the neighbor. I'm so-and-so. I'm the neighbor. And I don't even think that dog has a leash. I've never seen him one time on a leash. And I said, okay, well, if I'm going to get an attorney, I would like my attorney to be present before you hear their testimony.
Seems
Nice.
fair.
Cross-examine, yeah.
All right, maybe you can
Okay,
represent yourself.
so, which I didn't think was too much to ask, but Judge Shear looks at me and says, oh, yeah? Well, this is my courtroom, and you're in contempt. I had to pay $250 just to walk out the door. And that's God honest truth.
Yep.
That's how he is, though.
You
That's
should have
how he is.
hopped out the door in that little kangaroo court.
That's why
You-
he's
you
still
gotta-
the judge on Tybee after
Yeah.
20 years because he's not moving forward.
So that happened, and then I go get Bobby Phillips. Bobby Phillips goes in there, like before court when they do their little,
Yeah, their
like
little-
whatever happens in the
Tete-a-tete.
judge's chambers,
Yeah, they decide what's going to happen. in
And
court, yeah.
and
Not that I've been
Bobby
to
Phillips comes back out and he says, he is dead set on you. It's $1,000,
Yeah.
or you can just get the dog off the island. Well, I didn't have $1,000 at the time,
Yeah.
Yep.
And I said, well, looks like I'm moving,
Yeah.
Nice.
So they gave me 30 days
Holy shit.
to get off the island.
Shut up.
That's
Well,
plenty
no,
of time
to get
in
the dog
summer.
off the island, but I'm
Yeah.
not gonna send my dog off. Like I'm going with the dog, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
my we've all of now like
Yeah.
I'm
This is
bonded
your best
with
friend,
this.
yeah.
Like we're tight. So which makes us even more tight because we get so I decided to buy a van, and we live in a van.
Down by the river.
And it's got a motor in it, and I
No,
travel
down by the river.
And I actually did. I parked it on Wilmington Island by the river.
I remember that.
In a guy named Butch's property.
Yeah.
Butch.
Yeah.
And
Nice guy.
do you remember Butch?
Yeah, I
He
love
had like
Butch,
a
man.
weird, like something going on with his hand or something, like
Yep.
had half a hand or something. And
Little claw.
yeah, and he said, "Well, you just park it right there,
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay." I parked it there, and while I was looking for another place, and for months we lived in that van, me and him, and I had made this little
Is that the-
bed
is
up
that the gray
top,
van?
and he slept on the bottom. Now this is a van. I mean, I'm sure you don't remember this van.
This was-
this
this
thing
was
was bad
the,
shape. Man. I think I bought it for
Wait, was it
$4.
like rust colored?
This was the free
It was, yeah,
candy
like
inside.
red and rust?
Yeah.
I
You
do remember that van.
Oh,
I
but
remember
yeah.
that. I peeked behind that van a couple times.
And actually, I would still bring Snook to the island, but I would put a
leash on him?
on him next to the van, and he would just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
hang out. But
Oh, so you're doing odd jobs at the same time.
yeah, and,
Living in the van, coming
yeah,
to Poos,
like-
knocking it out, and then
and listen, I know that sounds like that sounds terrible, but I
great
really thought I had
times.
it made.
no. Today, people would call that van life. They would,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Like it was. Well,
Wait, not hashtag.
it was not
Octothorpe.
van life. I've seen
Octothorpe.
these van life people. It was nothing like that.
Oh,
No, I know,
It was-
but-
like it was.
but no one understands the freedom of it. Of being
was more
like,
rustic.
Hey man,
Yeah.
everything I'm doing is furthering myself. Just because I'm in a
Yeah.
van
Yeah.
doesn't mean that the things that I'm accomplishing aren't.
Right, and we're still
Fun
we're
and
still moving.
valuable.
We're still working, but what's really important is my relationship with this dog now. And I know that sounds crazy that I'm willing to give up my house and
I
I'm
would
living-
burn
and
my
I'm
house
living-
down for my dog.
And so me and Snook
Yeah.
had this awesome relationship. So fast forward from that, I just buy my first house. Now that's that's the beauty that came out of this. So I was like, okay,
bought a
I was
house.
renting on Tybee, and I was able to put down a down payment. My credit's terrible, and I had to rent to own.
Yeah.
So I find this person, they're like, yes, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you at a low price of 9% interest, which is absurd.
Which is
you know?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm desperate right now, but I mean, the house cost $49,000.
Wow.
So, and it was east side over there by Schumann Elementary School, or at the
still have this
time
house,
it was
right?
middle school.
You still have this
I
house?
still, Mike
Yeah.
Watson lives there.
Yeah, Mike's house. Yeah.
And I bought it.
Go Bull.
Man, super proud of this home.
Yeah.
Right. So just side note, is that your thing? Side
Interesting
note?
side note.
And so at the time, a buddy of mine was getting married. I went to Plano, Texas, and he had this super, like a 13-piece swing band, and it was called something in the Bada Bings, like Big Frank and the Bada Bings.
Frank and the Bada
and,
Bings.
Donnie the Chico and the Bada Bings.
That's the name of the episode?
It was like, I remember going, like, after the wedding, I would go, and they had, like, some little tacos and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. They're like, oh, no. The reception's later. This is just appetizers, and then you go in. And you say,
Oh, shut up!
like,
Wow,
it was like I'm talking about
Like a carving
a
station.
big to do. Yeah, it was
Oh,
a big. It was the nicest wedding I've ever been to. And after the wedding and the night, they have a brunch. Then we're all leaving, so they have a brunch at the wife's house, the wife's parents' house.
Okay.
And I remember him showing me around, and he's like, "Oh, look at the backyard. There's a golf course and this pool that has like a cascading waterfall." And I
So they were
looked down,
poor.
and there's the drapes. So they had these big windows and these drapes, and it was the bill for the drapes. The bill for the drapes for $51,000, and I was thinking about it. The reason I know it was $49,000 is because I remember thinking to myself, like, he paid more for the drapes
than I did for my
than
house.
I
my whole
bought my
house.
whole house for.
Jeez.
And I was like, whoa, this
Wow.
is crazy. Yeah, $51,000 in drapes.
So how long was it before you didn't have to do side jobs
Oh.
and were able to just be Huckapoos? And where did that name come from? Where did Huckapoos come from?
Yeah,
So
that's good.
It's probably a
That's
curious
the
question.
racehorse.
I feel like, did I leave anything out? Like, were we heading somewhere and then
Yeah,
I...
well, no,
we got dog derailed, but it's fine.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, we're gonna finish on the second half.
Yeah, we're gonna
finish
half.
strong.
But
Okay.
let's get the origin of the name Huckapoos,
Okay,
and
gotcha.
then we'll move.
But see, like so many people have so many different theories. I'm not sure that I want anyone to know the
Okay.
real answer.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
maybe we'll talk about it on the Patreon.
Maybe we'll talk about it on the Patreon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So
Patreon.
so let's leave it on a little tease. Was there any kind of cataclysmic events that happened at your bar in your early years that may have caused some trouble? Not involving this. Let's say not fight related. I'm talking earth shattering. That perhaps some of your recent encounters would have been involved in this kind of situation.
Yeah. So 2006, we also had a little fire pit, and this is back. Like, you got to think, I'm 20. So now I'm probably almost 30 years old, and I'm drinking a lot.
Mm-hmm. Most 30-year-olds do.
The crown was flowing back then.
Yeah, like so, and we had a fire pit, and we would sit around after hours and just someone would play the guitar, and we'd just sit around the fire and talk. But you know, it's just one of those things where just people kind of hung out. Well,
But it was like a
it was a
like a-
barrel.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it was on top of some hardy back
It was a
siding.
hardy back and some cinder blocks. Yeah,
on a wooden deck.
on a wooden deck. Yeah.
I mean,
This is
that's
the middle of
ocean-proof.
it was in the middle of the deck.
It was dead center. Yeah, dead center of the
Right
deck.
in the middle.
This,
The deck that you
this
built by-
picture we're painting.
Yeah.
This deck you
is-
built by hand.
It was built by us.
You
Yeah,
and-
for
you and- you and
Me-
Sooks
Me,
built
me
the
and Shep built the deck, and Shep's dad came and helped us and gave us some instructions. So it was well built because his dad was a smart guy and in construction. So it was well built deck, but it's not fireproof. You know, that's
Not a flame
just-
retardant
that's
deck.
not
Most
the way it
wood
was.
isn't.
So we left the fire going one night, and the fire. I'm assuming got up under the deck and lit the deck on fire, and it just took everything. Like, the whole thing burned down.
I was
It
working
it
construction
was,
at that time, but it was I hung out. That was my
Yeah.
only place that I hung out, and I was going to work at 7 that morning,
Yeah.
and I was very late for work that day. I was
Yeah.
like, "What?
Yeah,
oh
that
my!"
was it was a horrible day. But you know, like many times when you're thinking, this is an unbelievably horrible situation I'm in right now, it ends up being a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and like so many things. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
We didn't have any interest. We didn't. You know, I wasn't that
Well, I'll
guy.
tell you what,
I just
we'll-
wasn't.
On the second half, we'll get
We'll
into
find
how
out
the
how-
blessing was in disguise.
We
Yeah.
will rebuild in the second half.
Yeah.
The
Second half.
phoenix shall
Yeah.
rise from the ashes.
All right.
All
Yeah,
right,
in a
we'll see
second.
y'all then.
And welcome back to From On the Barcast. We have some birthdays this week.
We
Tell us
do.
about
Speaking
them,
of
Clint.
birthdays, cheers. We're drinking Saint Hilaire Champagne from Champagne, France, in Burgundy. And as you see our fancy wine chiller here, if you're watching,
Champagne.
it's a nice white bucket with a bottle of
Which I
champagne. in it.
mix pancake batter in.
But we'll actually do some educational stuff here finally on our podcast about drinking and bartending. So when you chill champagne, you don't just keep it in ice; you keep it in ice and water because the water conducts. And if you ever have to,
Because the water does what?
it helps conduct the cold. It,
Okay.
It envelopes the bottle.
Water
in
is an
better
amazing
chills.
conductor, as you know if you've ever been in the water with lightning strikes.
Or if you've ever grabbed a hot pan with a wet rag.
Yeah.
So,
It
and if
burns
you're
you very
chilling,
much.
you can spin
Instant
it.
education.
But you keep water and ice in there.
So
So
it's funny because rednecks have learned that a long time ago. Every redneck's cooler is full of water and ice,
Yeah.
and them beers are real cold.
beers real
If you
cold.
want to get really technical, throw some salt in there.
that is
Super
right.
chill.
It helps too. So happy birthday to my stepsister-in-law, Jerica Tanner. Happy 30th.
Hey.
And then at my job, trio of birthdays. Birthday one, a girl named Reese, our 21-year-old barback, just turned 22. Her birthday was Wednesday. No, Thursday. And then on Friday, it was O'Sheen's birthday. Happy birthday, O'Sheen. And then on Saturday, it's Tim, the bar manager's birthday. I'm like, why are you hiring people whose birthdays are only within days?
We
of
only
yours?
hire Capricorns.
Yeah,
It's like-
Capricorns. Happy birthday to Shake, Tybee, old school Tybee,
yeah,
Nathan
yeah,
Frisbee. Justin Jurgensen, brother of Josh Jurgensen, our guest a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Jen Knox, local bar owner, great human being, and Tatum Kehoe,
Happy
another
birthday,
Tybee
Jen.
local. So happy birthday to all of you.
Yeah, all the people that are in our community.
Yes.
And just like a nice community, whenever bad things happen, like Huckapoo's burning down, was that 2006?
2006, yeah.
And it was total loss.
Total loss. Yeah.
How many things did you recover from it? You hit the saw blade still,
Saw blade
gas
and,
pump?
and the gas pump.
and
There was one menu, right?
and
Man, it's hard to. I bet there.
And the
there
most
was a
important
whole
thing,
The
the Hulk.
machine gun and
The
the,
Hulk, yeah,
the
that
Hulk.
made it.
The whole
And-
machine
and
gun.
One of the Hulks.
Yeah.
and yeah,
I think Fro
yeah.
replaced.
I got
right?
the second one.
Yeah.
yeah, because one night some drunk guy grabbed the Hulk. You'd have think he punched your wife in the face. How
Yeah.
much he got like
yeah,
just
yeah.
they're like no, like got a hold of this guy.
Yeah.
Got the business end of some
He
things.
got
Yeah.
the business in the Hulk. You don't want to make
Somebody
him angry.
stole a Willie Nelson clock one time and got the same business.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when it burnt down the first time, if you've been Huckapoo's, there's a lot of records
Yes.
decorating the place in
Yep.
the cases. How was melted record land?
You know, so when Huckapoo's burned down, it was, obviously tragic for me, and I at the time I had a baby on the way and a marriage on the way also. Everything was kind of happening, and I was scared, man. I was
Yeah.
scared. I was scared. Life was coming strong right now, and I was scared. So I took this job. Building cabinets.
Yeah.
And so I was a cabinet worker during the day, and at night I would come out and start working on the bar. Well, I would show up at the bar, and every night, I'm gonna guess I get there about 5:00, 5:30, something like that. Every night there were people there waiting on me. Every single one. There was never a day where I showed up by myself.
People that were ready
Just
to
random
volunteer and
people in
help.
the community,
Not
saying,
employees,
hey,
but just people.
what do you need? What do you need? What are you
Wow.
doing today? And what are we?
Yeah.
What do we got? James Hutchison.
Yeah.
He showed up one time with all the wood that goes around the bar and around the walls inside. All that he pulled out of one of his jobs, took it a block down the road. I think it was from the old community house, the old guardhouse right here.
Yeah.
And he took all that old wood out, brought it straight over to me, and helped me
Wow.
put it all up.
Put it all
Yeah.
up.
Like,
Yeah.
and that was just one day. I just showed up. I wasn't planning on doing that today, but I had all this wood. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know. And he's like, well, let's do it right now.
Shout out,
And,
Hutch.
and I said, yeah,
Shout out
let's
to
do it
Hutch,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Nice.
And James Hutchison did that. There were just so many people. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
This outpouring of support. Not only that, but they had benefits for me because we didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
You know, like I was too smart for
Yeah,
that.
I was playing
too
in a-
smart for
I
insurance.
was-
Yeah.
I was playing in a band at that time, and they were like, "Hey, we're doing a thing at Cafe Loco."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
was
Cafe
like,
Loco
yeah.
hooked us up.
So Joel
The Legion
Solomon at
hooked
Cafe
us
Loco?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joel Solomon. He, they had these benefits and hooked us up with enough money to kind of get things going. And
Yeah.
of course, I had to borrow some money too, but it was
Sure.
like enough that I could say, okay, because there was a thought like maybe it's over.
Right.
That was an actual thought.
But the value of the people having the thought to want to be a part of the community and help is
Yeah.
more valuable than any money you could have gotten. You know what I
for
mean?
sure, man,
And
for
it
sure.
probably gives you the humanity of it, gives you the zest.
Yes.
Yeah.
To
Well,
continue on.
Absolutely,
Because I'm doing this. I'm not just doing this for
obviously
me.
this place means something to
Yeah.
a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah.
they're here. Mike Watson, he was there. At the time he was teaching school,
Yeah.
and he would show up after school. He was waiting on me. Like, what are we doing today? You know?
Wow. Yeah.
And we got it all put back together, and it's amazing feeling having that. I went from the worst feeling,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, we've built something that means something to this community, and let's keep it going.
And you'd only been open, 5-6 years,
Right,
whatever,
yeah.
and already in that short period
we were
of
still in
time.
the infancy stage of
Right.
things,
Yeah.
But already in
And-
that time, people had already recognized,
Right.
like, hey, man, this is something that should be continued.
Yeah.
And, it's so nice that people find value in things like that. And just like you were talking about, or we were talking about, the aesthetic is just as important as, like, the food,
Absolutely.
as the this
Right.
and that. So, especially at Huckapoo's, there's certain people, like when Simple Steve was there,
Yeah.
clueless at his job. You know what I
Totally.
mean? Like, never got to his tables or anything like that. But people would come in specifically for
Is
the
he related
Right.
to Mike?
for the experience. He's just turning into Simple Steve.
Yeah.
Just for the simple experience of that. And you've said it in meetings before. It's like, all right, look, man, there's like 3 or 4 styles of bartenders here. There's the Winkies who are going to entertain everyone.
Yeah.
And then there's like the Nickies that would just be like, I'm just making drinks.
Yeah. I'm just working.
And if you don't have, you can't have 2 people that are exactly
Right.
alike
Yeah.
on the same night. But the reason Huckapoo's is the way it is because it's
We feed off of each other.
It's a wealth of personalities. It's never going to be a boilerplate experience,
It's a
positive or
symphony.
negative.
It's a
I
symphony.
mean, one of the best complaints I've ever gotten is was, what is this place? Is it a sports bar? Is it a music hall? Is it a dive bar? Is it a
right,
family
yeah.
establishment?
Yeah,
What is this
yeah.
place? I was like, yes.
Yes to all of it.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's
because
what it is.
on Saturdays during football season,
Right. Yeah, Saturdays during football season, it is a show enough sports bar.
It is.
Because coming up this weekend, the world champion, defending champion Georgia Bulldogs
Yes.
kick off the football season against the Oregon Ducks and their ex-defensive coordinator Dan Lanning. So it's going to be quite a show up there with, I believe Duck Wings are coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3:30 on
It's,
Saturday is going to be wild because football Saturdays, Huckapoo's are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got some of my fondest memories. And one of my favorite, the Rose Bowl. We played Oklahoma double overtime.
Yeah.
I put my pedometer on my phone because I wanted to see. Got pace. I don't sit
Yeah.
down. I'm moving. How much I was going to walk, and I like to watch the game at the outside bar, but I like to run in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Talk to Eric real quick.
Yeah.
Run back outside.
Man.
Run in the kitchen. Talk to Eric. And it was freezing cold because it was January.
Yeah.
And JT and I designed we took a bunch of boards and put the heater out there so
Yeah.
our feet wouldn't get cold because he was warm inside. But I did 4.5 miles during a football game.
Are we-
And there's just
Are
so
we
many
talking
fun
about
times.
the Tua Tagovailoa game?
That was the Oklahoma versus Baker Mayfield
Okay,
game.
gotcha. Yeah.
And there was just there's so many memories that are just moving in and out. And like you said, Mike Watson, he comes and stands in the kitchen and watches the entire game.
On the
And
smallest TV.
TV.
I upgraded you to a 20-inch TV from the 14.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mike Watson, too, my favorite part of Georgia Saturdays is the 2 giant boxes of Publix hot wings that he brings in.
Like everybody's just.
I get to
hooking it up.
work and I'm like,
Hey, where's Mike?
hey, where's
Wait a minute, Mike.
He was definitely one of my favorites to work with there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we had such a great chemistry when we worked behind that bar together.
Yeah, I mean,
Amazing.
I've known Mike since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
He used to.
If you were female, you were getting your drinks. If you were male, there's a good chance.
That's what I
you
was
weren't
there
getting-
for.
You're always there for the men.
I think I worked my first Thursday that I ever worked behind the bar. No, actually, it was a Wednesday. I think Mike had just left like the week before that or something like that.
Yeah.
And how I got my job was I started there in the kitchen, and then someone quit on Wednesday night, and you had to go out and start bartending on Wednesday nights. And I was working in the kitchen. I was like, Eric,
let's switch.
you'd rather be back here. Yeah, am I right? Wouldn't you rather be back here? He's like, you're fucking right, I would be. And then I started working with Vinny.
Yeah.
With Vinny, yeah, because so everyone that's been on this podcast is we're talking Poos. For me, I've just been the manager a few times,
Yeah.
which is always fun. It was one football Sunday. When the TV outside comes down with
That's
a
right,
pulley, so the ring toss is off while the TV is down because of the
Yes.
danger of hitting the TV. And this Darren and his child come up there, and he's like, takes the ring down, starts throwing, like, "Hey man, game's on, no ring toss right now."
Yeah.
Well, I came up here just my son did this. I'm like, "I'm sorry, look, the game will be over," and he's got a Georgia shirt on. He's a Georgia fan.
Yeah.
And so I put the ring back up there. 5 minutes later, his kid's got it down again, and it hits the TV. And I went over there and was like, "Yo, man, I told you about this." He's like, "What are you going to do about it?" And I was like, "I'll be right back." Snip. And he walked in. He goes, "Bullshit." He walked inside, and I think Stephanie was bartending. And he goes, "I want to talk to the manager." And she sees me and goes, "It's him." And so
That sounds about right.
And so I was like, "Look, sir, we appreciate your business, but I warned you multiple times." He goes, "Well, I'm going to take my business elsewhere." I'm like, "So 2 Bud Lights and a kid's Coke." Yeah. Oh, no. You're gone. So then he stays. And then, Georgia starts winning the game. He's over there trying to high-five me, and I'm like, "Nah, dude. We're not high-fiving."
past
So some days it's a sports bar. Some days it is a family bar.
It's a charity event.
yeah.
So
Some days
And
it's
I
a charity
love the,
event. Sometimes it's kids lip syncing.
Lip-syncing,
You
yes,
know?
it is,
There's a
yeah.
variety of things, but we also have bands on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
To the dance
Yes, we
hall.
do.
Yeah, and so what time do bands have to stop playing for any reason?
Well, we're struggling right now. As much as, man, I love this community, and the community has given to me way more than I'll ever be able to give back.
And you give back more than anyone else does.
And I know that I'll never be able to pay this community back because this community has been good to me, and they come and they came in strong here recently.
Yes.
And I want to thank all those people that came strong for me because Huckapoo's, so the city manager decided that he was going to make a new ordinance. The council told him to do this and implement this new ordinance without voting or anything. We're just going to put it through there, right?
Yeah.
And which is legal, I guess.
But like you
so
said,
we had Travis on Travis Udon that wrote shout out to Hot Grits podcast that wrote the article in Connect Savannah about it and did a lot of research
and
on
apparently in the early 80s,
it. 84.
there was like a law written that said in certain cases the city manager can circumvent
the voting
the process.
and open debate with the community. Because a lot of things like that, the community comes in and talks and they say there are reasons for stuff.
It hadn't been used.
It hadn't been used until this ordinance that he decided that we're just going to shut you down at 11 o'clock on the weekdays and 12 o'clock on weekends.
The music would shut down.
Was this?
No, not just the music. It's any recorded music. So
right,
the
noise.
TV or the
news on.
or the radio or the
you'd have to be basically you'd have to be quiet so you can't be open.
Right.
Because there's no
Right,
who goes
yeah.
into, you walk into a quiet bar, you're immediately disturbed.
That's the
Right,
death.
yeah.
Was this told to you via phone call, email?
Yeah. So I was at another meeting. We were talking about workforce housing. So I'm in this committee thing that we're talking about workforce housing for Tybee Island and how we have to find a way that people can live here and work here.
Right.
We
Yeah.
just have to find that.
Yeah, because this house that we're sitting in right now, I rent.
Right.
And it's probably one of the last 5 long-term rental
Right.
properties on Tybee.
And we have to solve that problem.
Right.
That's a problem because people love working out here on Tybee. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of this?
Yeah.
You can't afford to live here on Tybee. You're not going to buy a house here on Tybee.
You're not going to buy a house,
No.
and there's nowhere to rent.
And if you
long-term.
live off island and you try to get on Tybee, there's many days you can't get on the island, so then
Right.
you're in trouble at work because you can't get onto the island.
Right.
And some people don't have cars and they need to live close where they work
by.
so they can ride their bike to work.
And in the very first meeting, I said, I know that a lot of people in this room, your success is measured with money. That's how you measure yourself. Well, some people aren't like that. Some people just want to enjoy their life.
Yes.
They want to enjoy their life and them enjoying their life, working as little as possible and enjoying their life as much as possible is what they want to do.
Yeah.
And those people, and the example I used at that meeting was Hunter Mullins.
Yeah.
And I just, I love Hunter Mullins because he loves being Hunter Mullins.
He does what he does
Yeah.
when he wants to do it.
Yeah.
He works just enough to be able to go out and drink a couple times and hang out.
Yeah.
And
And
it is.
I think that's beautiful.
And if you're talking to him, you could tell that he really enjoys being him.
He does. He enjoys life. He gets the most out of life he wants to live.
And when I'm around him, I love being around him.
Yeah.
You know? And he doesn't measure his success in how much money he has in the bank. And there's a lot of people like that. And those are the people that I want to be around.
Those
you know,
are the kind of
people that
people,
like being themselves, whoever they are. Those are the people that I want to be around. But those people are being pushed out of Tybee because they just can't afford the rent here.
Sure, yeah. So this is a meeting about that, and then as an aside, almost.
So after the meeting's over, and at that time we are making some good progress on.
So this has been positive. The meeting
I mean,
overall has been positive.
So positive, and they've even talked about this huge grant that the University of Georgia's given us to make this happen, and how we're going to make it happen, and I'm super excited about it. I feel like finally because one thing about politicians or bureaucrats or whatever you want to call them, they like to meet and they schedule meetings to meet after the meetings. Meetings. And I don't meet like that. I don't like let's do it. Let's make a decision. Let's go.
Let's do this now.
And so this was the first meeting I felt like we had made some progress. Yeah. And this was like meeting 5.
So you're feeling good. You're,
yeah,
all right.
man, I'm hyped. And I get up and I'm shaking everybody's hands, telling them excited.
Kissing
things
babies.
Pressing the flesh.
Drinking champagne.
And
like
the city
you wanna
manager
drink
who's at the
champagne.
meeting says, hey, so you got my email? And I was like, oh, no, I didn't get your email. What's it about? And he goes, well, we decided that we're just, because you had so many complaints, we're going to close you at 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock on the weekends. And
You're going to
hell
what?
you are, and
Fuck you will.
And me and him, right? So there's a council member, there's the city manager, there's some other people that are interested in this. There's Keith Gay's son, and it's like there's some people there.
There's some people in the room. Wow.
Yes. And we're packed. No, it's the middle of summer. We're packed.
Gotcha.
Like it's lunchtime, and there's a lot of people there, and I stand up, man, and I am on him.
Oh,
I
sure.
am I'm in his face. I'm mad. I am mad. You are threatening my livelihood now. You are threatening my business.
And you're doing it in
and
such
you're
a
doing it-
coy
and
way,
you're
like
doing it
ew.
in just this nonchalant way that doesn't
Flippant.
because it means nothing to you.
Yeah.
And I know that it means nothing to you.
Because you're not from this. You're not part of. He's not from this community.
No,
he's
he's
not part
not.
of this community.
No, he's not part of this community. But he's put in charge of this community.
Yeah.
And I am livid to the point where Brian West, the council member that's there, comes over. He goes, "Not here, guys." And I go, and instantly I'm like, "Not here." You know where you're at, man?
Yeah.
He said, this is happening here because you know who makes the decisions here?
Here, exactly, yeah.
And I am so he's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, and he runs off and I am fired up. I'm
Of course.
laying into this guy, right? So he says, okay, and I race home and I check my email, I see it, and I send emails out to all the council members, and I'm like, I tell him how I feel, and he says, okay. He comes back and he goes, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Let's talk. And I said, I want to speak in front of city council, and they said no. They said no.
Huh.
You cannot speak in front of city council.
It's weird they wouldn't want a public forum with you could come with maybe people that were supporting you.
And they said, but what we're going to do, and I will give it. Look, the way that was handled was completely wrong.
Yeah.
It really was. It was, but they own that. Like city manager Sean, he owned that. He said, look, let's pump the brakes. Let's figure this out.
I overreached a little bit.
And then he, he realized that what he did was not the way to handle it.
It was
that.
heavy-handed.
What we should have done
when you could have talked about it.
Is come together, because I find out that there has only been one complaint in a year.
Yeah.
One.
Right, yeah.
And so
You're
he
like,
said
show
all
me
these
the
complaints.
receipts. Yeah, all these complaints. Show me the receipts.
And then I find out that we've never had a sound violation in 22 years. I find out that through these things that they've never not allowed anybody that wanted to speak in front of council to speak in front of council.
Yeah.
They just don't do it. I know that my voice is loud. You know what I mean? I know that I am. I'm passionate about things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like basketball. Anyways, yeah.
Like the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, exactly.
And like my business and
Of course.
And the
my
community.
family
Well, see, that it's a weird approach the way that he did it. Like, oh, dude, check that email where I'm possibly ruining your business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The attitude behind that is the infuriating thing, because if there's a legit issue, we talk.
Let's talk about it like adults and humans.
And that's exactly what he said. Like after the fact, I don't know what went on behind closed doors. They were going to slide this in, and I was just going to lay down. And I mean, surely they didn't think that.
I don't think they. But
because a couple of those people in city council know you very well enough to be like,
right,
yeah.
And so I don't know what the thought process was behind that, but I know now they are like, okay, and the police department's on my side. Like the chief of police is like, hey, I don't, when they brought this up, we make less than 1% of our calls to Huckapoos.
Yeah,
like it is not on our radar of problems.
And it's like, we're not trained to run decibel readers outside when there's someone, getting in a car wreck
and
down
they don't
the
want
street.
to deal with that anyway.
No,
so
anytime the cops come in there, they're like,
super nice.
Yeah, they're like, sorry, man.
Yeah,
so
like,
and so.
this sucks. This is the part of my job that really sucks.
Yeah.
And they're all the cops really are super nice, and it's just
they understand. There's like, a busy bar.
Yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
and there's an incident.
Trying to make money and help.
So since then, he's been great. He really has. And so we've had these meetings, and again, a lot of meetings, a whole lot of meetings, and it's me, the city manager, the assistant city manager, the chief of police, and the assistant chief of police. That's who meets.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So we've had 3 meetings of them, right? First one, we sat down, and they said, I need to bring the city council thinks that there's a problem, and I need to address it. So, and I said, well, I don't see the problem. You're not first show me the problem. Prove me that there's a problem.
I need receipts.
And he says, look, okay, let me back up here. City manager, the city council perceives a problem, and I have to address it because that's my job.
Okay.
So, and
he works for the city council, not for the city, not for the citizens. The citizens elect city council. City council appoints him. Right. So he answers to
and
them.
The beauty, and city council loves the city manager because what they do is they say, okay, go fix it. And then when the backlash happens, they'll be like, oh, that idiot.
Oh, Sean.
That guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
He don't know how to do nothing. And Sean just takes it.
Right.
I guess that's his job. And look,
he's a buffer.
It's a thankless job.
And listen, the guy, like, would I hang out with him? Probably not. But he's a super nice guy, and
he's just put in an unfortunate situation.
Well, I mean, this is what he signed up for, but this is what he does. He's the guy that
he's the heel.
Yeah. He'll say, I'll take all the heat. You just protect my job.
Right. Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
And
how much do you think it was public backlash that made him start pumping the brakes, or do you think it was?
I think it's 100% the people that care about Huckapoos rising up and say, what the hell's going on?
Because it took half of a second.
Yeah.
For it to spread like wildfire.
For it to be in the zeitgeist of the community. It was like people were.
Oh yeah. On social media, I mean, I've never seen a post we shared so many times. It was just a local thing. That girl wrote that nice, long, well-written, thing, and
just one mistake in there. There was no council meeting about it.
Yeah, there was no council meeting.
Well, there was going to be. We thought there was going to be, but so things are just kind of.
So what we've agreed on is one thing that they did, which is kind of crazy to me, is they paid the technology, the IT guy or assistant IT guy or something like that, time and a half from 9 o'clock at night. You were playing there that night.
Yeah.
From 9 o'clock. So they did this 2 nights in a row, from 9 o'clock at night to 1:30 in the morning, to drive around in circles, taking a decibel reading with this machine every second. There was 25,000 readings.
Oh my Lord!
Wow.
25,000.
So I had not drank
of just Huckapoos.
Just a circle around Huckapoos. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Because you have your own personal decibel meter.
Oh yeah, I check it every night.
You carry every night. You go to all the entrances and the driveways.
What I do is I check the one problem area that we have. From the one person that complains and the one lady that So I go over there and I stand. Yeah, and she is a bulldog, dude.
Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for that lady. I really do. Like,
or is
I
she
know
just
that
bored?
I know that I should hate her. I should hate her because she hates me, and why like somebody that hates you, right?
That's what you're supposed to do. Turn the other cheek.
And but her tenacity.
Yeah, you gotta respect it.
I'm so turned on by that.
Gotta respect it.
I am like, man, this lady.
Yeah.
is
You've got a
just-
lot of tenacity yourself.
Not,
a lot
not
of
the
energy.
competitive
Right.
side coming out in you at all.
I mean, and she's probably 80 years old, man.
I was
don't
gonna
know.
say,
Like,
that
She is 80 years old.
I'm saying she's got to be old and bored because like no one else would take
and
that
she
much
doesn't
time.
even live there full time.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
She's
she,
calling in
like-
complaints when she's in Virginia.
She like look, she just has it out and has since 2008. She's had it out, and it was her and her husband. And one time we were at a council meeting, and it was for noise, and they were telling me that it was back when Jack Yeoman. Do you remember Jack Yeoman?
I don't think-
Yeah, Jack Yeoman is probably one of my favorite. Actually, my single favorite council person ever in the history of council, because it didn't matter. Like he'd sit there and he'd listen, and whatever they were talking about, he would take it all in, and then he would make his decision. There was nothing. He didn't do anything prior to. He didn't do anything, but he was tuned in to what you were talking about.
Yeah.
So they were there that night to complain that our fire pit was causing her asthma.
Holy bullshit.
Causing her
Wow.
asthma. That's and Jack Yeoman sat there and he goes, "Wait a minute, you're saying that the fire that they're having over there is giving you asthma?"
All the time. And the smoke only blows in that direction.
And I was super worried about this because it was
Like,
was
I'm not
Burke.
a doctor. I don't know.
It was the older Burke that just passed away. It was Walter Crawford. It was all these. It was Wanda Doyle at the time. It was all them, and I was worried about it because I was like, man, what? Like here I am again.
Yeah,
you
right.
know.
She's over there huffing it right out of the
And
out
I
of the
said,
pit.
and I said, man, I just find that hard to believe that our fire pit's causing her asthma. I just do. That's all I said up there.
The wind around an island isn't exactly or single directional. It's kind of
Right.
It blows,
And
blows
he
north
looked at that he
and
goes,
south.
Well, that sounds about like the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And
Oh my man.
and I didn't know you had a fire pit, but that sounds pretty nice. I'm gonna be out there later on.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
And that was his. And I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's
Yeah.
back when the Tybee City Council meetings on TV were.
They were drinking.
They
and
were.
stuff, yeah.
They were entertaining.
Oh, they were.
Hey,
Yeah.
Walker
Smoking.
Walter wouldn't get up and slam his thing on the
Yeah,
table,
yeah.
walk out and fix another drink.
Yeah, you gotta
Good
look-
times
yeah.
back then.
Tybee.
Yeah, it was definitely a different place back then. It was different. It was at another council meeting. He got up and compared me to a terroristic organization,
Good God.
and he was just going off about how like Hezbollah. Hezbollah,
yeah.
It took me a second to put it all together.
Hezbollah.
Yeah, it's like y'all talk about all the good things he does. Well, all them terrorist organizations. Hezbollah does all kinds of good things, but look at him.
Shut up.
And I was sitting there, and this one was about sound at the time, and I was sitting there, and I love to get in front of a microphone and talk at those council meetings. I was like, give it to me and let me go. Wind me up, let me go. And Jason was the mayor at the time, and he goes, Eric, do you have anything to say? And I go, I think he said it all.
I miss Jason.
I rest my
And,
case. Thank you very
I
much.
think he rested my case for me. Hezbollah.
And he was like, "Okay, are y'all ready to make a ruling on this?" And sure enough, everybody's like, "Dude's a nut."
They're like,
Yeah.
do we have to make a ruling on this?
I would say it was a little
So
hyperbolic.
yeah, it was. So back to our problem now.
Yeah.
So he's
It's not our problem. It's one person's problem.
he's decided. So he took all these readings, and we weren't over the noise ordinance. We were. Everything was good.
I was going to say it was a lot of pressure because I played that Friday night, and that was the first time they were doing it. But
Yeah.
luckily, I'd been 10 days sober.
But
You know what I mean?
But the good thing is, like, I didn't want to be turning it. I wanted them to have good readings, because it's not like
You wanted to be genuine. It's like when you go get blood work done. You don't.
because everybody knew it was happening because they met the guy that was doing it at Cockspur or something like that.
Yeah.
So Ben Ami and everybody knew this was happening. So like, hey, let's close all the windows and let's And I was like, no, guys,
Yeah.
like we need this reading.
Yeah.
We need to know. We need to know what
And the city's
going
paying
on.
for this, and
So-
you're technically paying for it.
So let's get the real readings,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got the readings, came back, like we're fine, you
Yeah.
know. So I go to the next meeting the next week, and I said okay, and I had a sewing machine, and I set the sewing machine up, and I give the decibel meter to Sean, who's the city manager, and I said okay, you hold that. And now you're roughly what do you say? You think that's 15 feet away, something like that? Okay, I'm going to turn this sewing machine on. I want you to give me a reading. I turn the sewing machine on, 62 decibels. A sewing machine, 62 decibels at 15 feet.
15 feet.
We're at 59 decibels at the road. So then you go to the complainer's house, and you're probably somewhere around 56 decibels,
Yeah.
which means nothing to anybody listening to this. What is 56 decibels?
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
a sewing machine is 62 decibels from 15 feet away.
Yeah.
We're losing you.
am
Speaking of
I?
decibels, we're actually losing you. Yeah.
If I turn this podcast to 52 decibels, you wouldn't be able to hear it.
Everyone will complain.
Yeah.
And so, that's the thing. Like, are your windows open every night? Because she's getting the asthma, I guess, too. See, their windows open, the sound's coming in.
Yeah.
The smoke
Yeah.
goes right there only.
And the sound all funnels right there.
all
into her
funneled in
living
one
room.
spot.
Yeah.
And you've done
And,
things to
you built a
deter
wall.
sound in directions. You've built
Sure,
walls.
right.
Sure,
and you've-
absolutely.
and-
And that's what they've decided now is they said they wanted me to build some sound shutters on that side of the building that faces her to try to direct the sound.
And she'll pay for this, right?
No. Now I did, and we talked about that because one of the options for this was to build a 20-foot high sound barrier like you see on highways on the opposite side of
about
Solomon
no?
of the dirt road, blocking everything off over there. That's one option.
You know what we could do is just grow a shit ton of bamboo back there.
Well, and they talked about
Well, you think the
vegetation
thing
and
is,
things
people
like
that live right there came to your defense. Were like, we like the music.
Yeah.
We we go to bed sometimes, but some nights we open our windows and listen to the music.
Yeah.
Right. And most all the neighbors offered their support. They
Yep.
said, listen, I'll go like Travis, who's complained before, Travis Williams.
Yeah, yeah.
And he had, there was a problem there. Not too
Yeah.
long ago, we built that wall.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys are like the greatest neighbors ever. Let me go to the meeting.
Cool.
Let me go to the
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, nice.
So Travis Williams stepped up
Even
for
if it
us.
didn't even
the
necessarily-
Sadowski stepped up for us.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah. The Stowskis are right across the
Ricky Smith, who's
Yeah.
like our greatest supporter, because that's the loudest right there. That's the
Yeah,
loudest we
right,
get,
of course,
And he's
yeah.
like, nope, I ride with you.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
awesome. And then like Brian Hogan and all those that live around there, he's like, yeah, I got you, man. We'll come.
Well,
to the meeting."
it's the characters around this island that make it so nice in the way that it is.
There are
But
quite a lot of characters on Tybee.
and speaking of since we are Huckapoos talk, JT, when he first got to Huckapoos, he worked for a Christmas party. He was just a stand-in.
Yeah.
And then he became a full-time employee.
Yeah.
And we had other, he's passed. And we used to have all the dollar bills on the wall and popped them all down to, help him out, whatever.
He
And
had
then
to pay for the funeral and everything.
and we had John Potter
Yeah.
for a long time. R.I.P. him. He was such a sweet dude. Most of my most solid friendship connections that I've had, and especially like not just customers, but people that I've worked with.
Yeah.
Huckapoos is like a center for.
Yeah, it's a community center. It's a clubhouse.
It really is.
I love it.
Yeah. But
It's a family place.
It is.
but
real
also
family
we also have a lot of.
Oh shit! It's the Karen of the week. It's the Karen of the week.
We had to let the music play.
Oh,
See, I put the.
I can't hear that.
Yeah.
None of us can hear it.
None of us
Like,
can
that's a
hear
weird
it.
pause.
I'll put it in. I'll put it in post.
It goes to post-
He's got this
So
look
don't
like-
worry, none of us can hear it either.
That's a super awkward pause right there.
I hope that
I don't
came
know
over
what
in
we're
the middle
doing.
there.
So,
So this week in Karen's, last week we went positive. This week we're going Karen's of the weird. Karen's of the weird.
Here's the weird.
You want to face me, other buddy?
I want to face you.
Thanks. I appreciate that. All right, so I work at a nice restaurant. I have a table. They're immediately weird. I can just feel the weird energy from them.
How weird?
Can I get a cashew in my vodka martini? Weird.
That's fucking weird.
Now look, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I went around and asked every person that works in my restaurant. So we got bartenders, servers, kitchen, our 62-year-old chef. Has anyone heard of a cashew in a martini? And every person was like, what kind of nonsense is this?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, yeah, it's called a cashini.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Very common around Huckapoos.
So
Martini.
he goes, well, I'll just have 3 olives and 2 twists. Also, not a real combination. You do twists or olives. You don't do acid and salt usually. So I'm like, so the bartender's like, is this an error? And the manager goes, there's no way that's a mistake. Clint wouldn't make that mistake. And someone had to definitely ask for that. So I'm like, you know what? Where's the other from? So I'll go to the book at the computer and look and see where they're from. I look up their area code, and it was 642. It was Toronto. I'm like, oh, French Canadians.
A Canadian cocktail.
So they proceed to continue to be weird. She complained that I gave her too many chicken livers. There's just too many on this plate. You could have given these to someone that was homeless. And I'm like, yes, because when I go, what? There's too many French fries on there. Let's put 5 aside and give them to Jim Bob in the alley.
Because he loves the pommes frites.
But the other 2 ate everything, and they were all 3 were in some form or fashion physically handicapped. They were, but this guy who was, I couldn't tell if he was just Canadian or gay. He goes, I would like the pie for dessert, your special, with a scoop of ice cream and a cold glass of milk. Make sure it's cold. Like, am I going to microwave this fucking milk before I give it to you? Milk only comes cold. Like, you don't give milk away not
You don't
cold.
think he meant cold glass?
No, I asked when you want to call. No, just so the thing is, he chugs the milk before the dessert comes.
Oh, wow.
The milk's gone. I was like, do you like some more water? He's like, nope. So he dry eats a piece of pie and ice cream. And I'm like, okay.
Because if I eat something sweet, the very first thing I want to drink is milk. Not after. Not before.
Not before. After. Or with. But
You
not,
ever do pizza and milk?
Yeah, pizza and milk.
I do love
pizza and
milk. Though, like milk.
So
Good combo.
it's just a weird table. They've just asked for a bunch of weird stuff. He thankfully tips me appropriately.
Yeah.
But while we're on news of the weird, local restaurant owner AJ Baker, listeners, our Patreon guy, we love you, AJ, sent me a text the other day and said, I shit you not, I had a customer tonight who said he was allergic to mammals.
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 Ma-
He had an
mammals.
allergy to mammals. Couldn't touch them, couldn't eat them.
Huh.
Weird. You're a mammal.
Because he is one.
You came out of one.
Yeah.
You probably bump into one from time to time.
It's weird. Every time I eat my wife's vagina, my lips swell up. It's crazy.
Oh, you've been going down? I have been. I mean, mammals? The only one I've gotten weird, a woman told me she was allergic to salt.
Yeah.
And I said, you're
I
not.
got that one too.
And she's like, I am. I'm like, my doctor told me, I'm like, no, your doctor said you can't have excess salt, but you're not allergic. She's like, no, I'm allergic. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, ma'am, I've actually done my own research. I'm a molecular biologist, and sodium ion channels are how you get energy into your cells. Without salt,
You'd be dead.
You'd be
Lincoln.
dead.
Die.
You would die. You've never lived. And she's
Yeah.
like,
Unalive.
well, no, that's not true. I'm like, okay, well, I won't put any extra salt. She goes, no, there can never have been salt on the food. I'm like, okay, sure. So what's the
gotcha.
weirdest? You've heard salt.
Well, this one was Bartoletti was working. And,
Speaking of characters,
and this guy just come from the beach. He was still in his bathing suit and no shirt, and
Yeah, as you do.
they had discussed about him being in the water, and he was like, I'm allergic to salt. and he was like, you mean like the salt you were just swimming around
Like
in?
the ocean water that you were just in.
that you definitely got some of in your body.
And he goes, yeah, I don't know why I just said that. I just wanted to
Hey, did that Darren turn back around?
Yes, yeah. I feel like he
redeemed
redemption
himself.
there,
Yeah, he
like
redeemed
he's
himself.
own it. It's fine, you know.
The
He just
plane
don't want
finally
salt. We get it.
landed.
I don't have a, this actually just happened the other night, and this wasn't what they actually requested, but it's what I heard. They came up and they go, can I get a picture of the midwife? And I was like, I'm not a doctor. I don't deliver babies. A picture of the midwife? And they go, yeah, a picture of the Kona Big Wave. I was like, what? We have a beer called Big Wave.
Yeah.
Kona Big Wave. And they wanted a picture of it, but I thought they wanted a picture of a midwife.
Midwife. You should just went in the back, take a picture of any random girl there. Right. She's a midwife. Artie could be a midwife.
midwife.
Artie could be a midwife.
So my Karens, they came in, and immediately when you see a bachelorette party, you're like,
Yeah.
Here we go.
So they come up, and the first girl goes, hey, we're going to be the fun group. Like, I bet you are.
Oh, I'm the big tipper.
So,
Yeah.
so spoilers, they were not Karens. They were the most amazing bachelorette party I've ever dealt with.
Really?
So
They were the fun group.
They were the fun group.
were the
So they go, can we get 8 lemon drops? I was like, sure. I'll pull the Deep Eddy lemon out, which is I just pour that for lemon drops,
sure.
you know. And they go, are you just? And I thought this was gonna go bad. They go, are you just gonna use the Deep Eddy lemon for the lemon drops? I was like, yeah, it's like a shortcut. They were like, that's exactly what we wanted. We love you.
Would you keep on ice
I keep on ice
Good
because
ice.
I know.
Because Brian Herford, when I poured him a shot a couple weeks ago, was like, "Are you gonna chill that?" And I was holding the bottle, and it was leaking down my arm. I was like, here.
Yeah, they ended up being absolutely amazing.
That's great.
And they had the leader, who anyone wanted something, they
The
go
maid of
through-
honor.
Yeah, basically, whoever.
Well, sometimes it's not the only. I lived with a guy named Aaron who I didn't know very well for a while, and he got married. He asked me to be a part of his wedding, and I was like, "That's kind of weird. Like we were roommates, but we weren't like great friends." And then when I met the rest of the groomsmen, I was like, "Oh, you need someone to take charge of this entire event." So his brother was the best man, but his brother was special needs, so he couldn't do a lot of stuff. He couldn't wear sunglasses everywhere because he'd get seizures and shit. So like I had to kind of take over. We went to what was the strip club by the bowling alley? It's now King's
the
Inn.
King's
The King's Inn.
Oh yeah,
God,
great joint, man.
we took a
I
limo
forgot about that.
to the King's Inn, and we watched a girl dance to no music because no one would play a song for her. They had a jukebox. You'd play the song for the stripper, and
It was
she
Tybee's.
was gross. And
It
we
was
walked.
Savannah Claremont Lounge.
Yeah, we walked in, and she's dancing to
That's
Nothing.
freaking bar noise.
blasphemy was just spewed out over there.
Interesting side note. King's Inn at lunchtime was Jason Bible's first gig in Savannah.
Nice.
Paid lunchtime at the King's Inn.
He played lunchtime
You
at the
went to
King's.
the King's Inn, I'm sure.
Oh, I remember being there and sitting down and being like, "Hey, you guys want to go bowling?"
Were you ever there when the girl was there with like 3/4 of a leg?
Yeah.
She had the nub, and she would hug the pole with her nub and spin around.
She was talented.
I was
She
going to say it probably worked better
Yeah,
for her.
yeah,
yeah.
He got paid
Yeah.
in lunch.
Interesting side note. That's where the term pegging comes from.
What's her name, Peggy?
I thought it was
Yeah,
Pet
as a matter
Bundy.
of fact.
So as
Are
we,
you allergic to any food at all?
I'm allergic to ants.
Are you?
Yeah, but food, man. Sometimes if I eat like oranges, I get a little.
His
something-
ulcer is allergic to hot sauce.
Yeah, my ulcer is allergic to hot sauce for
Yeah,
sure.
I
That's
know.
what Moya
So
is
Are you allergic?
allergic to.
Morphine, and it'll fuck me up.
You know,
I almost died.
Oh,
I'm
are
not-
you allergic to turkey?
That's not where I was going, but yeah, I actually. So I will not eat turkey. I am not allergic, but I dislike it a lot, and the reason why I dislike
Turkey.
is now look. So it was during the time the bar was burned, and we were rebuilding Huckapoo's, and Craig Harrison, another amazing character of Tybee Island. I would swing by his house to get tools a lot.
He helped you pour the bar, right? He helped you pour the concrete bar.
Well, Doug helped me pour the bar, but he
Doug.
helped with everything. He helps me with. Just
He's a
about
pretty
everything.
handy guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. So, so I would stop by the house to see my wife and grab something to eat, and then I'd come to Tybee. And she had this particular day. She had me 2 turkey sandwiches packed. I run, and my wife is wonderful, guys. I mean, she is.
We haven't talked about Heather enough.
Well, she is a
We'll have her on to
wonderful
talk about you.
individual. She really is. So she had me the 2 sandwiches. I run in, I kiss her, and I hop in the van, and I'm running down. I get to Craig's house, so it's probably a 20-minute drive from where I live in town to Tybee, and I get to Craig's house, and I slammed those 2 turkey sandwiches as soon as I got them. Like as soon as I got in the car, just
And turkey's very, very moist meat if you're eating the breast meat.
Turkey's good.
It is not moist because
Well, I just inhaled it. There was and I get to Craig's house, and I'm like, ooh, man, something's just not right.
Little bubble guts.
I got something going on here, and I just start throwing up. And my wife is pregnant with our first child at the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's that turkey. And I call her and I said, hey, because I'm worried, like there's a baby inside of her. And I'm like, baby, you didn't eat any of that turkey, did you? And she goes, no, it smelled funny.
it smelled funny.
And I was like, I'm about to kill her.
If I don't die.
And my stomach locked up like I couldn't move from this position, and I stopped twice on the way home to throw up. And I get back to the house.
Didn't got a lot of work done that day,
And
huh?
I am on the toilet, and it's coming out both ends, and she pokes her head in and she says, hey, I'm gonna go out with some friends for dinner.
What else? Say that again. She's gonna go out with some friends for dinner. You want anything? Not turkey.
And I was like, oh my God, that's the safest place for you right now. So yeah, so
I mean,
I'm not
yeah.
allergic to turkey, but I do not eat turkey.
So you're allergic to anything else though?
No, I'm
no
not,
allergies.
no.
Jeffro?
I am not allergic, but I'm married to someone who is. Moya is deathly allergic to orange and pineapple. And
Allie is
Now,
pineapple.
has she always been allergic?
she has, and her brother.
A lot
she
of
has
girls are allergic to pineapple,
Citrusy
orange,
stuff,
or those
yeah.
citrus stuff.
Yeah, she has a brother that's one's allergic
It's
to
'cause they're so
lemons,
salty.
one's allergic to limes. It's
Really?
it's weird.
There's
yeah.
a girl that works at Crab Shack, Ashley. She has to take 10 Benadryl a day because there's no way she can't handle limes at work.
Wow.
And
That's incredibly bad for you.
to touch.
Can't be good for you.
Yeah.
No.
Benadryl
No.
is horrible for you.
No, but I mean, she has to work.
And
you know?
driving, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Like turkey, it causes
just
you.
to wrap up, so we do our Karens. Who I want to get your best and your worst, like your well, you know, you don't have to choose favorites, but like most memorable Karen, you know, like besides the lady who's called in 1,000 times, and then like
And not your employees don't count.
yeah, and then a customer that's made the most like lasting impression on
You know, and I don't know if this counts really. And I know
Yeah.
you're looking for a customer,
No, it doesn't matter.
but the
Just,
person that I miss the most, like
Yeah.
I maybe I took him for granted, or maybe I just didn't know how much I cared about him till
Yeah.
he was gone. But JT is probably
Yeah.
the person that I find myself like I still see him to this day walk in sometimes, or I hear his voice, or I hear his laugh to this day, and he has impacted my life way more than I thought he had.
Sure.
And I didn't
Yeah.
know it until he passed away, you know, and then I just started and it used to happen a lot with Susan. I would see like this small person go by, and it would trigger that memory.
Yeah.
But JT, I can't shake this one, man. It is
Yeah.
like he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Well, and he passed during COVID, so
Yeah.
during kind of a the weirdest time in all of our lives.
And
probably.
I think a lot of
So it
a
hit
lot of
heavy.
it is I got some regret for that too, because you know I knew that he was sick, but he wanted to be at Huckapoo's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But he was going through chemo and everything, and we still had a fighting chance there. We
Yeah.
were thinking
Yeah.
that maybe this would take.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't allow. I was like, no, man, you are not going to be here.
Yeah,
You
you're not
know?
going to accidentally get COVID.
And so and then he passes away, and of course, like, look,
we
could all do this, and we could do this all day. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, of course, yeah.
But at the time, I was like, you know, I'm taking care of him. I'm making sure that he's not going to get like he got COVID. He's got
or
chemo,
just not
he's sick,
taking an undue chance.
and, yeah, we're just
Yeah.
not going to do it. But it's the one place that he wanted to be to live out his days, and I didn't allow him to
Yeah,
do that.
now you're,
you
like,
know?
a little
and now I think
regretful,
about it,
yeah.
and I'm like, man, you know, that was a disservice to him.
Sure. Yeah.
Because nobody loved it. Like I don't know if anybody loves Huckapoo's like JT loves Huckapoo's.
Well, the thing was, like, for whatever, you know, however he conducted, no one cared as much about, like, he was there
Yeah,
and he wanted it
right.
to be as best as it could be while he was
For
there.
sure.
Yeah.
So bringing him and Susan together. So the night that Susan passed, I was working, and JT had just started working there like a year or two before. And I had heard that there was like a motorcycle accident or something like that. I ran outside. I was like, someone find me JT. I thought JT had left. And JT didn't really know me that well, and I didn't really know him that well. But I was like, brother, come here. And I gave him a big hug.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, dude, I'm so glad you're safe and you're here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, you know,
I mean,
it turned.
motorcycle accident. Was,
Sure. Yeah.
that was
right.
a terrible night. Yeah.
But now, you know, in continuing on, JT is the one person that's like that I'm least regretful about, because I never really got to say goodbye properly to my parents because it went really quickly. But JT, he had this Vans sweater. It was like a hoodie.
Yeah.
And one time I told him I liked it. I was like, man, I love that hoodie.
Yeah.
You know, one Tuesday I'm at work. He walks in. He doesn't look great, but he's, you know, he doesn't look terrible.
This is what he was going through.
He was, yeah.
He's
He
going
was.
through treatments
It was
and-
pretty far along. It was a Tuesday, and he came in. He's like, "Oh, hey, I just wanted to give you this before I left," and he had brought the hoodie.
Yeah.
So he hands it to me. I said, "Dude, thank you so much. I love you so much." And we hugged, and you know,
Yeah.
whatever. 2 days later, he
2
passed.
days later, yeah. Yeah.
And it was like having that, but you know, that was the first time I experienced actually being able to exchange with a person
yeah.
your last thoughts and how much you love them before they pass.
Yeah.
So it's super unique to be able to have that.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. And
Well,
I
it was such
appreciate
I remember going to the service and like, my father's got cancer, so I'm a little more careful about getting sick and stuff. So I was away from everybody. It felt so lonely to be there and be like, I can't go hug all my friends that I love, that love all of us. And there was a lot of people that were the same way.
Yeah.
So like his celebration of life wasn't the way it should have been, and we were robbed of that by a multitude of things. But like it just wasn't what it should have been.
Well, so many people were getting up and speaking, and they would be, little short little anecdotes. I loved him so much, this and that, and everyone was keeping it kind of brief.
Yeah.
Then I forget this guy's name, and I wouldn't care to mention his name on air any fucking way.
Yeah.
This guy.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, this
One
guy.
of the bikers?
No, it wasn't a biker. It was just some douchebag that you hang around there. This guy walks up, flips his chair around,
Oh God!
gets on the mic, he goes, "Let me tell you about it," and he sits there for 30 minutes,
That
like,
was terrible.
Oh God! Yeah,
dude. I was like, dude, this is not your platform right here, man.
yeah.
Show this guy some
Yeah,
respect, you
It was
douchebag.
because no one wanted to talk to that guy in real life, so he was like, "Now's my chance to have people to listen to me." Because no one wants to
That
listen
was,
to me.
that was
Here's
bad.
I remember, like, I am 50 feet from you, and I'm looking over there, and like, I'm kind of like, like, what do we, but you have this look like, what do we do here?
We don't gong.
I know we don't have any Oscar music.
We can't walk. We have the Sandman come out with the crook and get him out of there.
Yeah, and I learned a valuable lesson because unfortunately we do have a lot of final moments.
Sure,
At Huck Poos and I did you can't open it up for everybody. You just can't do that.
No.
You just
You
can't
unfortunately
do
have to screen
You
people
need to
that
have
wanna
some
talk.
people that are prepared with something.
And some people are just better at talking than others. Some
Right.
people get nervous, and it's not necessarily this their fault, but if you've got stage fright, getting on stage could be a really bad idea.
Yeah, it's a bad trigger.
Yeah, it's bad trigger. And the thing is, you could go, "Hey, I would like this to be said. Can you say it for me?"
Yeah.
Someone who's better at speaking than me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But then another thing that I noticed, though, that sort of angers me a little bit, there's a lot of grief co-opting sometimes up there because, like, something will happen to someone that they
Yeah.
don't necessarily know very well, but they're like, oh, here's a time
For me to
where
me
I
to,
can be present and be like, oh, hey, look how much I care.
Yeah, for sure. That's
okay.
and that's something that you got to be.
Yeah, and it's I feel
and
bad
it
for people
bothers
that,
me too.
People that feel that way make me almost feel like I don't like him, but I feel bad for them because I'm like, you're so desperate for attention.
Right.
That this is the way you're going to go about getting it, and like it's like God, it sucks to be that way. So I do have pity. I pitied the fool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I went because we were having it was in the height of COVID.
Yeah.
So,
And it was height of
so
COVID
when
in
I
the
said
summer,
that
and
that
the
I
heat.
was having a gathering.
Yeah.
That was frowned upon by and the guy and I remember the council member that I was talking to or whoever it was said that is
This funeral's going to give me asthma.
They said it was inappropriate and what was the other word? But I remember it was perfect for JT because there's nobody more inappropriate.
Oh,
than
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about this. It was inappropriate something and like misguided. It was something that was like both things were about JT.
And I was like, dude, that's perfect.
Thank you for
Nailed
naming
it.
the, thank you for naming the ceremony.
Like I was thinking of what I was going to say, and he nailed it.
Thank you. I'll actually use that in my speech. Thank you.
It was,
Because people because I was pretty hardcore about the COVID thing. Some other people were the opposite,
Yeah.
and I was, I wasn't on the far end of it or the end of it, but I was pretty. People were like, "Oh, you went to a service?" I'm like, outside in the open air, bananas.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and look, that.
And you have a giant parking lot.
Yeah.
A giant parking lot.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, was it safe to do? No, but what are we gonna do? Just let our our friend go and just say, hey, we'll worry about this when COVID's over. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
They're not going to do a Zoom service for fucking
No.
JT.
And
watched
I'll
the
go
damn-
catch fucking COVID if it's gonna memorialize my friend. I don't give a shit, man.
But at the time, COVID was different. We viewed it differently.
Yeah.
We just didn't know enough
you
about.
Could die.
We,
It was
yeah,
unknown,
People
yeah.
were dying a lot more then than they are
Right.
now.
Well, yeah.
And
I mean,
once we
that,
figured
it
things
was
out,
just unknown. There was a lot of
we
unknowns.
learned a lot. And I watched a Zoom funeral, and I don't know if any of you have ever been to a Southern black person's funeral. There's a lot. It's you ever been to
long.
black church?
It's long.
You've been to black church?
Yeah, it's-
I lived
yeah.
in an African Baptist youth home for a year, and church was 3 to 4 hours long some days because you just get on a tangent. So, like you did at an African American funeral in the South, everyone that wants to talk gets to talk.
Yeah.
And most people that were talking don't know how to talk into a microphone or never have.
Right.
And they get there, they're just like confused. And I mean, I watched it on my tablet while I was doing all of my house chores possible. As a friend of mine I went to high school with. Finally, I was like, I have
I just can't do it.
My tablet's dying. I have to turn this off. Like I can't try. I got to keep moving because I couldn't sit still. And I was like, God. And like, but what you did though, there was still a lot of community around it because we were, we were outside. We were able to talk to each other and hug and have a good time. And it was.
Well, one more thing about JT though. So he gave, like he did with the sweatshirt with you. He gave this isn't right when he was dying. This is before he even knew he had cancer. But he gave my daughter his surfboard. And he's like, man, I'm never going to use this. Like, you want this surfboard?
Did he win that surfboard? Did he win that?
No, he didn't win it. No, this was like his actual, he served.
Oh, the one that he, okay.
And this is from a long time ago. And it was a shortboard, which she likes the longboard. So she enters these surfboard competitions and these shortboard competitions. And she got on JT's board. She's like, I think I'm going to ride this one today. And I was like, yeah, I think that's a good one. She went out there and she won it. She won the competition.
Shit,
and
yes.
I know. Yeah. And look, my kids are badasses. They really are. They're awesome. But she had never won a shortboard competition, and the longboard she kills it, but the shortboard one's just. Damn. And she won it on JT's board. It had these flames on it, of course, like JT would want.
Oh yeah.
And I remember her walking out with that board, and I was just like so much. Like, of course, I'm proud of her
there's
always.
Pride,
like I'm so proud of my daughter for everything that she does, but then now she's on this board and it's JT's board, and I mean it was like moving.
Wow.
The waves are hitting me in the eyes.
Yeah, it was
the dam of emotion.
Like,
the waves are hitting me right
it was
now.
like almost, and she's like, "Dad, you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she didn't know I was upset or I was thinking about JT at the time. I wanted her to think I was just thinking about her. Like, way to go! But it was, man, it was.
Just kiss me.
Yeah, it was awful.
What a perfect way to.
So we're
end
gonna
it.
go to the Patreon and we're gonna address a problem here of this podcast, Eric.
Yeah.
We were all under the assumption you would be dressed like that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And you're not.
I was.
And I'm not. So what we're going to do is you're going to show us on a little video after this how to properly cut the sleeves off of a shirt.
Yes. I
But
got
before
you.
we end,
No
what's
problem.
the F count? Because I know I did not
I like how
lose
you
this
like
week.
You got smoked.
Good.
5 for me, 3 for you. Clint, you had none.
I had one that you just missed.
Did I miss it? Okay, well, I'll put one.
Did I have any?
You had none either. You had a lot of hells and
Look
dams.
Yeah, you one time I was like, he's gonna do it right here.
He's gonna.
Like,
I was like,
you
oh, it's coming, it's coming.
Or something. I was like, God, come on.
But thank you to all the listeners. We love you all. If you want to tune into the Patreon, it's patreon.com/From Behind the Barcast, and we're on all the socials. That was me. We love you, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah, the surfboard at the end. Like,